Imagine a world where the vast majority of a nation's trade, transportation, and industry hinges on one remarkable natural feature, a network of 5 massive freshwater lakes that stretch across the heart of the continent. Now picture one of these lakes cradled in the hands of a state that would become a crucible for American innovation, economic power, and the movement of people and goods. That state is Michigan. And what Michigan has given to the United States is far more than just breathtaking natural beauty. It has provided the lifeblood of industry, the key to global trade, and the foundation for the American Industrial Revolution. But how did Michigan come to hold such a pivotal role in shaping the United States? It's a story rooted in the power of water, the ambition of people, and the rise of industry. It's a story of ships, steel, and innovation, a tale that starts fittingly along the shores of the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes, a vast freshwater system covering more than 94,000 square miles, form a natural border between the United States and Canada. They've been central to the rise of entire economies, shaping not only local industries but national fortunes. And of all the lakes, one stands out in its historical significance: Lake Michigan. This lake would become the anchor of a transformation that turned Michigan into an industrial powerhouse and helped define the future of America. The first chapter of Michigan's legacy on the Great Lakes begins with the birth of the American shipping industry. In the early 1800s, Michigan's access to Lake Michigan and to Lake Superior, Lake Huron, and Lake Erie placed it at the crossroads of North America's most vital shipping routes. Ships could travel these vast bodies of water carrying vital commodities from lumber to iron ore to coal, and thus Michigan became an essential hub in the industrial machine. The bustling port of Detroit, for example, became a gateway to the world. In the 19th century, Detroit was known as the Motor City for a reason, but long before Henry Ford ever built the first mass-produced automobile, Detroit was already a thriving center of commerce, connecting the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean through the St. Lawrence Seaway. This connection helped Detroit grow into a key player in global trade, a metropolis where goods flowed in and out at a staggering rate. But it wasn't just the port cities like Detroit that were shaping the future. Michigan's vast interior was a treasure trove of raw materials, and that would soon become crucial for the nation's rise to global dominance in manufacturing. The Upper Peninsula of Michigan, home to some of the richest iron ore deposits in the world, would become a major contributor to the nation's industrial growth. This mineral wealth would fuel the steel industry and ultimately transform cities like Pittsburgh and Chicago into heavyweights in global manufacturing. In fact, Michigan's role in the nation's industrial revolution can be traced directly to one of its most iconic industries, the automobile. In 1903, Henry Ford and his assembly line fundamentally changed how cars were built and, by extension, how the entire economy functioned. But Michigan wasn't just the birthplace of the automobile. It became the model for mass production, where innovation flourished. Ford's first plant was situated on the banks of the Rouge River in Michigan, where raw materials from the Great Lakes region were transformed into one of the most significant machines of the 20th century, the automobile. The development of Detroit's auto industry also sparked a migration of people seeking new opportunities. The Great Migration of African Americans from the South to northern industrial cities in Michigan marked the transformation of Detroit into a vibrant cultural and economic center. With the rise of the automobile industry came the need for even more infrastructure. The state's extensive network of lakes, rivers, and railroads became a lifeline for Michigan's economy. But as important as transportation was, it was the labor force that truly powered Michigan's industrial rise. Immigrants from across Europe and beyond flocked to Michigan in search of a better life. Polish, Italian, Irish, and German workers built the railroads, worked in the steel mills, and assembled the cars that would carry American ingenuity to every corner of the globe. By the mid-20th century, Michigan was home to the big three automakers, Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler, each of which had its roots in the state's unique position at the crossroads of the nation's trade routes. These companies became not just national, but global icons, and their impact rippled outward, transforming everything from the labor movement to consumer culture. The once quiet shores of Lake Michigan now bustled with the sounds of industry, innovation, and progress. But as much as Michigan was defined by its industrial strength, the state's relationship with the Great Lakes had a more profound role to play, one that continues to shape the state to this day. The lakes are not just trade routes and resources, they are part of Michigan's identity. The story of Michigan's transformation is incomplete without considering the importance of the environment and the sense of pride that residents took in their lakes. As Michigan's industries grew, so did its environmental challenges. In the mid-20th century, with industrial expansion came a significant price to pay. Pollution from factories, oil spills, and the massive growth of shipping traffic led to deteriorating water quality in the lakes. The once pristine waters were tarnished by industrial waste, prompting a movement that sought to preserve the health of the Great Lakes. As Michigan's economy grew, so too did the understanding that the lake's environmental health was vital not just to the people of Michigan, but to the entire country. By the 1970s, Michigan became a battleground for environmental protection. Citizens, communities, and activists began fighting for the preservation of the Great Lakes. In 1975, Michigan played a leading role in the creation of the Great Lakes Water Quality Agreement, a treaty between the United States and Canada that sought to reduce pollution and protect the lakes for future generations. The Great Lakes now stood as symbols of the delicate balance between industry and nature. However, Michigan's role in shaping America's future would not be limited to its industrial strength or environmental battles. The state also served as a cultural crossroads, where people from all walks of life found common ground. The African-American migration to Michigan during the early 20th century played a crucial role in the state's cultural fabric. It's no coincidence that some of the most influential voices in American music, literature, and civil rights emerged from Michigan's industrial cities. Motown, born in Detroit, became a global symbol of artistic innovation, blending soul, rhythm, and blues into a sound that would forever change the music industry. But as the decades rolled on, Michigan's industrial might began to face new challenges. The decline of manufacturing, the outsourcing of jobs, and the shift toward a service-based economy reshaped the state's identity once again. The automobile industry, once the beating heart of Michigan, faced competition from overseas, and cities like Detroit saw once thriving neighborhoods fall into decline. The challenges were real, but Michigan's resilience and its deep connection to the Great Lakes continued to inspire hope. Today, Michigan stands at a crossroads once again, but this time the state's future is intertwined with a new focus on technology, innovation, and sustainability. The Great Lakes, once the engines of trade and industry, are now seen through the lens of environmental stewardship and conservation. Michigan's future is no longer solely defined by the steel mills and auto plants of the past, but by a renewed commitment to preserving the natural beauty of the lakes and fostering industries that will drive the next wave of American progress. So the legacy of Michigan and its role in shaping America endures, not just in its factories and its cities, but in the water that flows through its veins. The Great Lakes continue to shape the state's identity, its economy, and its place in the world. And just as the lakes have been the lifeblood of Michigan, Michigan has been the heartbeat of America's industrial revolution, its cultural evolution, and its environmental awareness. Michigan may be just one state, but it's a testament to how the right resources, the right people, and the right spirit can change the course of history. From the waters of Lake Michigan to the shores of Lake Superior, the legacy of the Great Lakes continues to shape America, and Michigan will always be at the center of that legacy.